Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm William Edmunson, filling in for Kevin Price, and I'd like to welcome Chris Kidd, who's a regular on the show. Chris, welcome to the show.
Good to be back.
Yeah, glad to have you here. Chris is, of course, with Chris Kidd Enterprises. Well, Chris, what's going on?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question. A lot of stuff's going on. I don't know if you know, Kevin and I are working on a couple interesting little stories. One of them's around baseball stuff and everything, and we just had an interview with somebody from the Rockets organization, the Houston Rockets, and we're actually working on setting up a follow-up interview with them. And then some of that will be on the usdailyreview.com. So that's a little bit of interesting stuff going on.
Absolutely. So you've got a couple things you want to talk about today, I understand.
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of questions. Well, I guess to give people a little overview, if they're not tired of hearing it already every week. But I'm a financial coach and really work with people on just getting their, making a bigger impact in their finances, whether that is from the personal financial management and handling personal finances, getting out of debt, and learning how to just handle their money better, stuff like that, to investing and learning how to be better investors, how to be be able to use their advisors in a better way and understand the whole investment process. And then the entrepreneurship side, as far as working with people on starting their own businesses, helping them find things that they are really passionate about, things that they have where they have strengths that maybe they don't realize, and how they can turn that into profits, whether it's something from a small business standpoint or whether it's something that they want to grow into a big business down the road.
Oh, that's great. And of course you can be found on the web at Chris Kidd. That's chriskidd.com.
Right. And one of the things that I've been getting a lot of questions about lately is options trading. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but that's one of the big deals that I cover with my investment coaching and stuff. And basically options are something where it gives you the right to do something, but it's not an obligation. So it's in most cases, it's kind of, I always tell people it's kind of like entering into a contract for a house. You put your earnest money down, which is kind of like an option price, and then you have the right to go through with that deal. But if you find that there's foundation problems, it's got termites, that's built on a sinkhole or something like that, right. you're not obligated to. Yeah, you can get out without having to pay the full price of the house.
Yeah, and so the same thing on options.
Yeah, a lot of times, and there's multiple ways of using them, but that's kind of the buy side of it. It gives you the right to do something. Like I said, there's two sides of it, and you can either buy them or sell them. One of the first option seminars I ever went to, I always tell this story. A guy said, 85% of options expire worthless. So what does that tell you? And he said that, it means 85% of the people out there don't know what they're doing. And after a while, I just kind of got to thinking. I said, well, it means I want to be selling 85% of that worthless junk.
Exactly. Yeah, there's always a positive side when you look at it that way.
Yeah, and it's a lot like insurance, at least on the selling side. You pay for health insurance, you pay for life insurance, we pay for car insurance, house and homeowners insurance, and most of the time we don't use it. Right.
Yeah, you pay all that money, and you actually hope not to use it.
Yeah, and then that's basically what the model works on. At least on the sell side, is that that's not going to have to be used. And on the like the insurance side, a lot of the insurers, the way that they make money is they get their premiums at they get a good enough premium to where it should, with enough customers buying, then more than likely the worst case scenario will not happen, to where it creates a total collapse where if everybody had to file for, if everybody had a hurricane, which is, virtually impossible
Right.
within the United States, because I don't think they have hurricanes in Nebraska.
No, not so much.
But if something like that happened, then, they would really be in bad shape.
Right.
But the way that they make money is by, all of these people insuring their stuff and things not happening or enough to.
Mm-hmm. So it's always covered because not everybody's going to pull out of the pool at the same time.
Yeah.
Good. Well, so who's coming to you with questions on options?
Wow, it's it's quite a variety of people. I've had people from actual financial advisors come to me. I've actually trained some. I don't have a Series 6 or 7. I don't manage anybody's money, but I've trained people, to get some of their licenses.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things that one guy came to me was he was really having a lot of trouble on the options part and failing the practice test that he had really bad. And he spent about a couple hours with me one weekend, and he called me the next week and said he aced his test.
Nice.
So,
That's great.
Yeah, so I've got, people like that. I've got people who are running seminars that, want to teach stuff like this or have somebody teach some different investment approaches. There's a lot of, I guess, layman investors who, because options is something that used to be kind of reserved for the rich and ultra sophisticated investors, and just over the last decade or so, or a couple of decades, it's gotten to where more and more people are learning about it, and certainly over the last, I'd say, 3 to 5 years, it's just everywhere. So more people are finding out, and typically you hear one of two things: where you can make a lot fast or you can lose a lot fast. And
right.
The horror stories, typically somebody goes to an options seminar, sees some sort of a pitch for option stuff. What they tell them is the big bright and sunny side. You can make $10 million off of $100 in 2 weeks.
Right.
So,
right.
And that's a little blown out of proportion, but it's stuff like that. So they get all excited, and they don't really understand the risks and stuff of what they're getting into. So I have a lot of people who are trying to find out how options work, come to me, whether they use an advisor, whether they trade on their own or whatnot. And then, I've worked with business owners that are managing some of their retirement money, or if they just want to create an extra income. And then, like we've talked before, the gambit of people that I've worked with is from high school students, college students, business owners, professional athletes, entertainers, etc. So pretty much everybody and anybody that's wanting to learn about it.
Oh yeah, all across the spectrum. That's great. So the options are interesting, and you really do have to know what you're doing. So going to somebody like you, Chris, is real important, because it is a whole different way of investing from what most people are used to.
Yeah, and it certainly takes a lot of education, and I always tell people the number one thing that you want is to learn what you're doing before you jump in. Certainly, if you start making mistakes early on, really the worst thing that can happen is it works out, because the bets get bigger, but you don't realize that you don't know what you're doing, and you're taking bigger risks, and then something bad happens down the road. So that's really kind of where I start with people, is to make sure that they understand the risk side as well as the upside. Because we can all adjust up, but adjusting to the downside's a little harder. So I make sure that they understand, well, this is the other side of the coin, and there's things that you can do to protect positions and to actually make it less risky.
Gotcha. Well, this is very interesting. In fact, we're gonna do another segment here in just a minute with Chris, but right now I'd like to just remind you that the best content here shows up at usdailyreview.com, and we'll be right back with more of The Price of Business after this.